World News Update, October 19th, 2025. Opening hook and intro. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and wow, do we have a packed news day for you. From historic baseball moments to major diplomatic breakthroughs, natural disasters, and even a spectacular meteor shower you won't want to miss. Today's got it all. We're covering the top 10 stories making headlines around the world on October 19th, 2025. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for all of these. So let's jump right in. Story 1. Mariners on the brink. Starting off with some incredible sports news that has Seattle absolutely buzzing right now. The Seattle Mariners are just one win away from reaching the World Series, and the way they got there last night? Absolutely electric. In the 8th inning, Cal Raleigh and Eugenio Suarez delivered back-to-back home runs that sent T-Mobile Park into absolute pandemonium. We're talking fans losing their minds, the stadium shaking. This is the stuff sports movies are made of, folks. The Mariners have been chasing this dream for years, and they're now closer than they've been in over 2 decades. One more win. Seattle fans, how are you feeling right now? Let us know in the comments. Story 2. Alaska storm devastation. Now, shifting gears to some really heartbreaking news from Alaska. The remote villages hit by severe flooding last weekend are facing devastation that's hard to comprehend. Governor Mike Dunleavy just announced that over 2,000 displaced residents won't be able to return to their homes for at least 18 months. Let that sink in. 18 months. The damage is so severe that the governor is requesting major federal assistance from the White House. These are remote communities that were already challenging to access, and now they're facing a massive rebuilding effort. Our thoughts go out to everyone affected by this disaster. This is a stark reminder of how vulnerable some communities are to extreme weather events, and it's definitely a situation we'll be following closely. Story 3. Combat sports loses a legend. The combat sports world is mourning today after the loss of a true legend. Duke Roufus, the famed MMA coach and former kickboxer, has passed away at just 55 years old. If you follow MMA at all, you know the name Duke Roufus. Out of his Wisconsin gym, he trained some of the biggest names in the sport, helping shape multiple champions and high-profile fighters. His impact on mixed martial arts and kickboxing can't be overstated. He was one of those coaches who didn't just train fighters, he mentored them, transformed them. 55 is way too young, and the tributes pouring in from across the combat sports community show just how loved and respected this man was. Rest in peace to a real one. Story 4. Daytime Emmys winners. On a lighter note, let's talk about last night's Daytime Emmy Awards. The red carpet was rolled out, and the trophies were handed out to the best in daytime television. From soap operas to talk shows, the competition was fierce this year. The complete winners list is out now, and there were some surprises and some well-deserved victories. Daytime TV doesn't always get the same attention as primetime, but let me tell you, the talent and dedication in this space is absolutely incredible. Whether you're a soap opera superfan or you love your daytime talk shows, this year's winners really represented the best of what daytime television has to offer. Check the description below for the full winners list. Story 5. Online Scam Investigation. Now, this next story is both tragic and important. Dozens of South Koreans allegedly involved in online scams in Cambodia have just arrived back in South Korea on a chartered flight to face criminal investigations. But here's the context that makes this even more serious. This move comes after public outrage following the death of a South Korean student who was reportedly forced to work in a scam operation. This isn't just about people running scams. This is about human trafficking, forced labor, and criminal organizations operating across international borders. These online scam operations in Southeast Asia have become a massive problem, trapping people, often young people, into working in what are essentially modern-day slavery conditions. The fact that South Korea is taking aggressive action to bring these individuals home for investigation shows how seriously they're taking this issue. This is definitely a developing story with international implications. Story 6. Troop Deployment Dispute. Moving to some significant domestic political news. The Trump administration has asked the Supreme Court to allow it to deploy federal troops in Illinois. So far, federal judges have blocked the administration from sending troops into the Chicago area, and now it's heading to the highest court in the land. This is a major constitutional question about federal power versus state authority. The administration is making its case that federal intervention is necessary, while opponents argue this oversteps constitutional boundaries and sets a dangerous precedent. Whatever your political views, this is a huge case that could have long-lasting implications for federal-state relations and the use of military forces domestically. The Supreme Court's decision here will be watched very closely by legal experts and officials across the country. Story 7. George Santos sentence commuted. And speaking of controversial political news, President Trump has commuted the prison sentence of George Santos, the disgraced former New York congressman. For those who need a refresher, Santos was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison after pleading guilty to a whole list of federal charges, including wire fraud and identity theft. His case was one of the most bizarre political scandals in recent memory, involving fabricated credentials, campaign finance violations, and a whole lot of lies. Now, presidential commutations are not unusual, but this one is definitely raising eyebrows. Santos won't serve that 7-year sentence, and the reactions are coming in hot from both sides of the political aisle. Some are calling it an abuse of power, others are defending the president's authority to grant clemency. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious about this one. Story 8. Meteor shower alert. All right, let's cleanse the palate with something absolutely beautiful. Stargazers, this one's for you. The Orionid meteor shower is peaking right now, and this year conditions are nearly perfect. This meteor shower is actually debris from Halley's Comet. Yes, that Halley's Comet. And this year's peak coincides with a new moon, meaning minimal moonlight interference. Translation: dark skies and the best possible viewing conditions for shooting stars. The best viewing times are after midnight through the early morning hours. Find a dark spot away from city lights, give your eyes about 20 minutes to adjust, look toward the constellation Orion, and enjoy the show. This is one of those simple, free, absolutely spectacular experiences that reminds us how amazing our universe is. Get out there if you can. Story 9. Trump's diplomatic momentum. Global politics. President Trump is riding a wave of diplomatic momentum this week following the successful Gaza ceasefire deal. The president began the week with a 36-hour trip to the Middle East and ended it with Ukraine's president visiting the White House. The administration is clearly trying to capitalize on what they see as a major foreign policy win with the Gaza agreement. Now they're turning attention to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine situation, hoping to channel that momentum into more diplomatic breakthroughs. Whether you think this approach will work or not, there's no denying this is one of the busiest diplomatic weeks we've seen in a while. Multiple high-stakes meetings, major international players involved, and potentially historic negotiations on the table. The world is watching to see if this momentum translates into more tangible results. Story 10. Behind-the-scenes peace talks. And our final story today gives us a fascinating look behind the curtain of those Middle East peace negotiations. Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, President Trump's key dealmakers in brokering the Israel-Hamas ceasefire, sat down with 60 Minutes and revealed something pretty dramatic. They said they felt a little bit betrayed when Israel conducted a strike on Qatar during the peace talks. Apparently, this move nearly derailed the entire negotiation process. This really shows how fragile these diplomatic efforts are. One unexpected military action, one breach of trust, and months of work can fall apart. The fact that the deal ultimately succeeded despite this setback is actually remarkable. But this interview gives us insight into just how difficult, unpredictable, and honestly nerve-wracking these high-stakes negotiations really are. Definitely worth watching the full interview if you want the complete picture. Closing and call to action 7030. And there you have it, folks, your top 10 world news stories for October 19th, 2025. From Seattle's baseball dreams to Alaska's recovery, from political controversies to peace negotiations, and from tragic losses to beautiful cosmic events, it's been quite a day. Now I want to hear from you. Which story surprised you the most? Are you excited about the Mariners? Did you catch the meteor shower? What are your thoughts on the George Santos commutation? Drop your comments below. I love reading your perspectives. If you found this news roundup helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss our daily news updates. Hit that notification bell too. You know the drill. Thanks so much for watching. Stay informed, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Total runtime, approximately 8 minutes 40 seconds. Video notes include relevant B-roll footage for each story. Use lower thirds with headlines. Consider adding news ticker at bottom. Include maps for geographical stories, Alaska, Middle East. Use sports highlights for Mariners story. Include space graphics for meteor shower segment.